Hey everyone, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Today the day has come where I have to say goodbye to the traveling bare bow. After Thanksgiving tonight, I'll be taking it down, packing it up in a box, and tomorrow I will ship it out to the next archer or archeress. So in case you're unfamiliar, this is the traveling bare bow. Like I said, it is a 3-piece Kodiak takedown, 47 at 28 pounds, and it goes from archer to archer as the years go on. This bow came to me kind of a dark time in my life. My husband was still in the hospital, and I came home one day to make sure the homestead was all right, tended the animals, let the dog out, and I had a big package at my mailbox waiting for me, and I knew that it was this bow. So I got dressed, got a cute getup going on, set my camera up, unboxed this bow for you all. I don't know if you watched that video or not, but that was kind of the beginning of my journey, and I was so excited to have this bow. Once we came home after a couple of weeks and my husband was doing a little better, I actually set it up, and I came to the realization that my awesome blue vintage arrows flew perfectly out of this bow. I didn't take any time to tune it or anything. That's just how it worked out. So I made a few videos, got my practice on. I was preparing for a little 3D shoot out in Butler County, the Oneida archery shoot. I went with my husband and a couple of our friends and our sons and our friend Matt of the Push. You've probably never heard of her or the Push either. But it was a great time. It's a great time to be with friends and family out shooting our bows, and this bow got passed around quite a bit. So, I mean, it was cool. It was really neat. So then summertime hit, and it was time to get ready for our most favorite traditional archery event, ETAR. And what do you know, about 2 weeks before ETAR, I pick up the bow, did my usual examination of the bow before I shot it, limbs, string, my string was torn. So I was like, crap, what do I do? So I hit up the guys with TTT strings, and they sent me a string. Once I got the string, it was only a few days before ETAR, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to get brand new arrows, tune them and all that. I tried out some of my arrows. They weren't flying very well out of it. Picked up a couple of my husband's, and one of his turkey setups, I think they were like Easton Axis, 400 spine, something thereabouts, flew just fine out of this bow. So that's the set I took to ETAR with. I took those to ETAR. They flew pretty well, but they were a little bit heavy in the front end, about 400 grains, and usually I usually do have a heavy point weight. 300, 350 max, but 400 was just a little bit too much. And those arrows would just go out to about 18 yards and then nosedive completely. And never mind shooting the really long distances. I was aiming like way, way, way up. So I was like, well, these aren't gonna work long term, but that's fine. But I brought those vintage blue arrows with me, even though they weren't shooting great out of this bow at the time because of the string change, you know, kind of changed the dynamic of the bow and setup. But I was honored to be a part of the 21 bow salute for the late Mr. Asbell, Teresa Asbell's husband. So I let one of my vintage blue arrows fly in his honor, and she currently has that arrow. So that's what happened to that arrow setup, and you probably won't see me using those arrows anymore, but that's okay. They're somewhere special, and I was super honored to be a part of that bow salute. Mr. Asbell was an incredibly awesome person and really important structure in our archery community. So anywho, at ETAR, I'd never shot aluminum arrows before, and in the archery community right now, it's all the rave to be shooting aluminum arrows. I was shooting with my friend Paul Helms, and he had aluminum arrows, and I was like, you know what, let me see how those fly out of this bow. And they flew like a dart. They flew awesome. So once I got home, I ordered a dozen arrows from Three Rivers Archery, and I got it all tuned up for the archery season, practiced my butt off all summer. And then these two arrows right here that you see, the partial crested arrows, they were a part of they were a set of 3 originally. And I was lucky enough to take a really beautiful buck during archery season, and that's what happened to the third arrow. It's not broken, but it's super bent. So that arrow is retired. And then I went along and made 3 fully dipped crested arrow. I mixed up this green color I just took a little bit of vintage blue, a little bit of yellow, a touch of white, mixed it all up together. And this was exactly the color I was hoping for. And I know some of you have been telling me that they're awesome Easter arrows. I mean, I agree. But anyway, so I set these arrows up in hopes to get a doe later in the archery season, which I did not. And that's fine, because it's called hunting, not killing. You'll have that, and I'm hoping that they'll work in my next bow. And if they don't, then they can just join the others on the shelf and be pretty. So that was my year. Well, that was my 10 months or so journey with this bow. And I say we go over and just unload all these arrows, and we'll pack her up, send it on its way. Thanks for letting me share.
Sometimes I'm all about the easy way. Sometimes I go for the gold. I never thought you were easy prey. I just knew I was sold. You probably knew all along what my intentions were. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, baby. I want no lines to be blurred, 'cause I can see the light of lust shining, baby, from behind those bedroom eyes. And when I see the light of lust shining, don't you know that I just wanna hear you sigh? Here we are